Hello, everyone. My name is Ole Kagan, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for LA County Library, and I welcome you to Work Ready, Exploring Job Search Websites. And now I'd like to tell you about the Work Ready program. Work Ready started in December of 2020 with the purpose of helping people get a job, improve their work situation, and plan a more sustainable career path. We do that in two ways. We lend out laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots for 6-week loans out of 20, soon to be 27, library locations, breaking down the one barrier to applying for a job, that's getting online, as well as getting online training. So people will get laptops with various software and internet access for up to 6 weeks and perhaps longer. And the second way that Work Ready is helping folks get jobs is providing virtual events like this on a range of work-related topics, from the basics like resumes, cover letters, interviews, to deep dives into various careers and other subjects that can help you succeed at work. And you can see over 50 of those past classes at any time by checking out our YouTube channel. That's going to be at youtube.com/LA County Library. And if you click into the work and career playlist, you can see a list of our past videos, as well as non-event videos, like shorter videos that we've made on a variety of topics. And this Work Ready program is made possible due to funds provided by the American Rescue Plan. And if you'd like to learn more about our virtual or in-person events, head over to lacountylibrary.org and click on the events link on the top right-hand side. If you hover over that, you can get just virtual events. However, if you click on the box as it is, you get in-person events, you get virtual events. All of our events, of course, are free, cover a variety of ages. And so anybody with any interest can find something that is up your alley. All right. And now it's time for me to introduce our presenter for the day. Lawrence Mack is a MakeMo or Maker Mobile librarian, and you can find him on any given day driving a colorful van around LA County doing STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math programs for anyone ages 5 and above. That means you might find him at a senior center, at a school, at a library, sometimes all on the same day. And today, he comes to you via your computer or your phone virtually to teach you about job search websites. And with that, Lawrence, take it away.
All right, thank you so much for the introduction, Oleg. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Exploring Job Search Websites. Hang on a moment while I share my screen and we will be on our way. So let's share the screen. All right. Okay, and let's go from the top. All right, so this is Exploring Job Search Websites. Let's take a look at the program description. So we're going to take a tour of some of the most popular websites for job seekers and discover some search strategies and research methods to make you a stronger applicant. All right, and this program is for adults. All right, so what we'll cover some popular resources that you can find on our library website for job seekers. And that includes some job search websites as well. And then we're going to take a look at some popular job search sites just in general, popular sites like Indeed and ZipRecruiter. And then we're going to take a look at some additional resources as well, including accessibility settings and how to navigate these websites and what features are available on these websites and your web browsers that help folks with disabilities to navigate them. All right, so let's get started. So the first place to look for library resources is our Tools for Job Seekers website. And So that website has a lot of different resources, including some learning resources and links to job search websites. And that's what we're going to focus on, is this job search websites. We're going to take a look at a couple of these, including CalJobs, including Workforce 50, including some state and federal and local government jobs, and also the link to the popular web search platform Monster. All right, so let's jump right in. So first is CalJobs. So this is a website that has job listings from the state of California, and it sources its listings from all over the internet, including from Indeed and ZipRecruiter and other government sites as well. So it's a big aggregate for job listings. But there are also some interesting resources they have, including the ability to find live or virtual workshops and events near you. And these include things like job fairs, where you can connect with recruiters, where you can connect with representatives from organizations, find out more about that organization, and maybe even submit your resume. And there are also skills workshops that might teach you about the different skills that you need to succeed in a given profession. There's also an education services locator that helps you find schools, to help you find educational programs, and to get financial assistance, if possible, for certain jobs. And they also have a really good accessibility tools suite. All right, but that's enough about just telling you about it. Why don't I show you? So I'm just going to go straight to CalJobs. And also, if you're on this Tools for Job Seekers page at the LA County Library's website, you can always click the link here on the right-hand side as well, and that will bring you straight to CalJobs. All right, so this is the CalJobs website. It's an official site of the state of California. Okay, and as you look, you'll see that front and center is the job search function. All right, so it's basically lets you type in a job title or company or keyword, and it lets you type in a location, and then you can always click search. All right, and then as we scroll down here, you can find jobs that are available today. You can view the most recent openings, and you can view some details about the unemployment rate, and also there's a resume tool as well. All right, and as we scroll down more, we see that some interesting links. So for job seekers, you can find a job, find a workshop or event, education and training. Okay, so let's look for a job first. So say I want to look for a web developer, and I want to search in Los Angeles, California. And I'm just going to click search. Start with a basic job search. All right, so it says your results are sorted by relevance. Okay, so we have found 136 jobs using your keyword web developer within 25 miles of Los Angeles, California. And the cool thing is we can change all of this, but first let's take a look at the results. All right, so here are the listings. You see that there will be the job title, web developer. You'll see the employer, which is from CalOptima. You'll see maybe some salary information that they provide, although this might not be the most accurate. And you'll see the type of job it is, government, and you'll see from where they found this. So the source of this. So this is from CalOptima's website, and this was posted 2 days ago. All right, let's scroll down more. Let's see. So here's like a web developer for WordPress and WooCommerce. You'll see the employer, and you'll see some salary information, and also you'll see that this is from Indeed. So CalJobs found this information on Indeed and aggregated it into their search results here. All right, so if you see something you like, let's say, ooh, a front-end web developer for See's Candies. See they're located in Long Beach. You'll see that salary information. If that all looks good and you want to find out more, go ahead and click the title there to see more information about this job. All right, and as you scroll down, you'll see that occupation, web developers, see where it's located at, how many positions are available, and when the deadline for applying is. And you can also see from where CalJobs found this listing, and it's from Indeed.com. And as you scroll down more, you'll see more information about the job description, including like pay range, including compensation package, and more about what they're looking for. They're looking for developer, what they're looking for in terms of experience. And there will also be a little bit about the employer as well. And then as you scroll down more, it gets into more details, more of the nitty gritty. So you'll see like the position objective. You'll see the responsibilities of the position, like what you can expect to do if you're in this position. And then also some of the job requirements or minimum qualifications. So this is sort of what they're looking for in that a person already has, that a candidate already possesses. So like over 5 years of experience with development, blah, blah, blah. So if a potential candidate sees this and they're like, oh, I meet all of this, then it might be a job that they're suitable for applying for. Okay. And then there will be some information about other jobs that this employer has posted if you're interested in another position with this employer. All right, so that's the basics of their job listings, but let me show you filters. So these filters allow you to either expand or limit your results based on certain criteria. So you can add additional keywords to the search. So for example, maybe you want a certain programming language that you're proficient in. You can limit this search result by distance. So it's automatically set at 25-mile radius from whatever the location is, but you can always expand this. And as you can see, if we expand it to 100 miles, then we have 213 jobs within 100 miles instead of, if we go back to 25, then there's only 136. So if you want to cast your net wide and look for jobs over greater distance, you can always expand it there. And you can always see if it's posted within a certain time limit. So if you want to see jobs that are fresh, maybe ones that the employers are actively reviewing the results, and ones that people have, like a lot of people haven't applied to yet, you can see jobs from within 3 days. So let's see if there are any within 3 days. So jobs posted within 3 days, there are 9 jobs. All right. And then also things like worksite options, like if it's working on site or if it's teleworking or working remotely, you can always do that. You can always limit their search results by employers. So you can see See's Candies has two web developer jobs. There's also like the University of Southern California and a couple other employers as well that you can limit by. All right, you can also limit by salary. You can also limit it by source as well, whether it's from a job distributor, which is like a service like Indeed or ZipRecruiter, or if it's from like a government agency that listed it. All right, so this is the basics of the job search, and it's very similar across many of the job search websites that we'll be looking at today. All right, so I also want to show you finding a workshop or event. So in case you want to find opportunities to network with fellow job seekers or with job recruiters or people from certain companies, you can always do that. And once you click into this, this site, it'll automatically give you filter criteria. So you can enter a zip code. All right, so let's stick with that. The event region. All right, so you can see there are certain regions that you can limit this these events by. So let's go to LA County WEDAX. All right, and you can also limit it by event office, but you don't need to. All right, and let's do workshop. Let's do a job fair. Let's search for a job fair and location type. Let's do on-site event. You know, I want to meet some people. So, and then, you know, March 2023. Let's take a look. All right, then I'm going to click filter. All right, and let's see what types of, there are no events for the selected filter criteria. Okay, so let's actually expand this search then. All right, so I'm not going to select a region. I'm just going to search for a job fair, and we'll see if that that has anything come up. All right. Okay, so it looks like there are a lot of events in the area. So to see the details for any event, you can always just click on it or hover your mouse over, and that'll give you some information about the event. So you can see this is a hiring event that's happening in 2 days in Rancho Cucamonga. So that's a little farther away, but then you can always limit the region or limit it by office or by zip code to find an event near you. Okay, let's go home. Okay, and also for education and training. So if you ever want to get additional training to meet a job's requirements, so this is one of the places to go. So there's training providers and schools that you can locate, training and education programs, and also you can get financial assistance links if somebody needs financial assistance to help them go through, to help them complete their education. And there's also scholarship search and education profiles as well. Okay, so that's for CalJobs. So let's move on. The next resource I want to show you is Workforce 50. So this is a pretty interesting job database. It's tailored to older job seekers aged 50 and up. And in addition to some job listings, you can also filter it by state and also employer. And they also have a lot of additional resources as well for older job seekers, such as teach articles on how to utilize social media, such as LinkedIn or Facebook, to help you connect with potential job recruiters and potential employers to help put yourself out there. There's also some resources for resume help and also for dealing with age discrimination. So let's go to Workforce 50. All right, so this is the website. And as you can see, they have Workforce 50 jobs. So you can search for jobs on Workforce 50 directly here. You can search by state, and then you can always just click on certain job listings that they feature as well. Then there's the Workforce 50 library, which is the resources that I mentioned, and they have things like resumes and career marketing, optimizing LinkedIn for job search. So, you know, they have these really good, they also have some ads, but they have these really good articles that help explain, you know, what LinkedIn is, why is it worth your time, how to set up a LinkedIn profile, and also what to put on it. So it's got some good stuff for not just older job seekers, but job seekers in general. All right. But if you want to look for a job here, you can always just do job search by state. And once that opens up, then you can search by the job title and the location. And also, so let's see. So let's look for customer service representative. And let's see what we can find in Los Angeles, California, and within 25 miles. All right. Okay. And so here we've got a lot of different results. We've got 3,400 results. All right. And so let's see, customer service representative remote. Okay, so if this looks interesting, I'm going to click in here. Okay. And they're going to link you straight to different websites. So this one is from ZipRecruiter, but whichever job search website that they have, they're going to they're going to bounce you straight to that listing. So again, this one also finds results from Indeed, from ZipRecruiter, and from other websites as well. Okay, but we'll get to ZipRecruiter in a minute. Okay, so that is Workforce 50. Okay, and then next, there's also government jobs. So there's 3 websites here that I want to show you. The first one is for LA County jobs, and that's for jobs in LA County. They've got a really good job search toolkit, resume interview tips. So let's take a look at that first. All right, so this is LA County Department of Human Resources. And to find a job, we're just going to hover over this find a job link here. And then for job searches, you can always just do jobs open to the public. And what that does, this is the site governmentjobs.com that LA County has its job opportunities on. All right, and they immediately just show you the list of jobs from A to Z. And you can always search for a job, but let's say you're interested in administrative deputies 2. So they already have a lot of the information that you want to see, including whether it's full-time or part-time. You can see the salary, the category of the job. So if it looks interesting, just click in there. All right, there's a more detailed description of the job and also of the benefits. And if it looks good, all you do is you click apply. And if you don't already have an account, all you need to do is create an account using your username or using an email and a password, upload your resume, and then you can start applying to jobs. And this applies to all of the job search websites that we'll be covering. So they'll basically just need you to have an active email, a password to create a profile. And on that profile, you'll be able to upload a resume and then apply to jobs. All right, so it's much the same with the government job websites as well. So this is Cal Careers. So these are California state jobs. And so what this has, so you can apply for open state job listings. So these are jobs with California state government headquartered in Sacramento. You can also learn about state positions and benefits as well. So they have a lot of articles about why working for the state of California, there's opportunities and the benefits and career development. And also, if you want to search for a job, so let's see what kind of jobs there are. So you can find jobs by industry. So they have all these separated. If you want to look for jobs in architecture and engineering, just view jobs for the entire group. And then you can do a search for that as well. So it's really, all right. So instead of searching for the keyword, you can always search by the category as well. All right, so let's say associate environmental planner. Again, same thing with looking at the listing. You just click in there and you'll be able to see more information about this job. You can see the salary information, filing date, description and duties. And if it looks good, you just click apply now. Again, you'll make an account with your email and you'll be able to apply for this job. All right, and the same thing for US federal government jobs. So again, you'll be able to search for keyword, you'll be a search for location or remote. And they also have some other interesting things as well. So they have some information on how to create a profile for this website. You can upload resumes and documents. You can save your favorite jobs and searches. You can make your resume searchable. And again, you can apply for the jobs. And also you can explore hiring paths. So a lot of these government agencies websites, they have hiring paths that let you take a look at, to help individuals and how they can search for different pathways. So let's say if you're a veteran, click on that. And then you can learn about, if you're a veteran, how would you start working in government? How would you start making your way? What jobs are suitable for veterans as well? Okay, so let's take a look at jobs. So let's do jobs in Los Angeles, California. And we're going to just do a general search for the jobs. And you'll see that there's about 2007 results in Los Angeles, California. You just scroll through it. All right, so there's a lot of different positions. So for example, Human Resources Management, Department of the Air Force. That looks pretty interesting. So if I click into that, you also see a summary of this job, who it's open to. So sometimes this job is open to people with specific qualifications, but in this case, this is open to the public. And you'll be able to see some duties and requirements for this job as well. Again, for government jobs, especially federal government jobs, there are also some interesting filters for their job. So for example, some of them need security clearances for certain jobs. But for example, this one does not require a security clearance. Okay, and then they'll ask, sometimes they'll tell you how you will be evaluated. So you'll be evaluated for this job based on how well you meet the qualifications above. Some of them might have additional factors. And then they'll also tell you required documents and how to apply as well. All right, so that's our government jobs. So now we're gonna move on to one of the mainstream job search websites, so Monster. So since 1999, so Monster is one of the original job search websites. If you were around the turn of the century, around 2000, they were really big, and they even had commercials in like the Super Bowl. But lately, they're still around. They're still a solid job search website. But again, other job search websites have also grown in popularity, such as Indeed and ZipRecruiter. But Monster is still a pretty reliable search website. So they also have career advice articles, including job search advice. They'll have articles on how to write cover letters and resumes. They have things like company profiles and salary comparison. And again, it's free to create an account and apply to jobs. They don't offer a resume tool, but they do have a paid professional resume review option. So let's take a look at Monster. All right, so this is the Monster website. It's a pretty clean website. You'll see that there's a tab to find jobs. Again, they have salary tools, career advice, resume help, and you can upload your resume as well. So again, they have their search feature here, where you can just search by keyword and location. When you scroll down, they have a section for new graduates. So people who just graduated from high school or from college, they can search by salaries, by major, get a free resume assessment, and also search for entry-level jobs. And if you scroll down more, there's a lot of career advice. So they have a lot of articles covering like career self-assessments, how to start looking for a job, and also you can take a look at sample resumes as well. So looking at samples is really important because it might help you come up with a template for your own resume. And also they have articles about interviews and interview questions. And again, like many of these job search websites, they also have a mobile app on the Apple Store and Google Play that you can download and do your job search on the go. Okay, so let's do a quick job search here. Let's do search for an accountant and Los Angeles, California. So once we're going to do job search for there, you're going to go to the results page. And from here, the results are shown sort of on the left-hand side. So you can see, accountant, see some basic information about the listing, the company, the location, and also the pay. All right, so this one looks pretty interesting. So if I click on that, more detailed information pops up on the right-hand side here. And you can see, again, salary, job type, location, description. If that looks interesting, you can either save it to a job list or you can just apply. And once you click apply, again, if you haven't made an account yet, they'll prompt you to make an account and upload your resume, and then they'll send all that information on their way. All right, but let's take a look at salary tools. All right, this is a pretty interesting feature. So let's say you want to look at salary for a general accountant in Los Angeles. You see a job you like, but maybe you're thinking, that salary looks a little low. What do people generally make? All right, so for an accountant in general, it shows you kind of the salary estimate for a location. So this is good because you can ballpark if a job listing you're looking at, if they're giving a fair salary. And it might help in salary negotiations as well. All right, so if you scroll down, you can see salary for related jobs. If you're not finding exactly what you want, maybe you'll find what you want in the related jobs. And then they'll show sort of a general list of jobs that you can scroll through here. And you can use this information to compare against the salaries that are posted for these jobs. All right, and then for the career advice, these are the articles that I was showing you earlier. They have a lot of featured articles that help you through the process of job searching. For example, like how to write a cover letter and reasons that you're nervous about a new job, how to write an effective resume as well. So again, I want to stress that you want to utilize all the resources at your disposal to help increase the chances of a successful job application. And making use of like salary tools and career advice will definitely give a job seeker a leg up. Okay, so those were all of the links to the sites on LA County Library's Tools for Job Seekers website. Now let's move on to popular job search sites. So I'm going to cover Indeed, which you've probably heard about. It's probably the biggest job search site in the world at this moment. And also its competitor, ZipRecruiter. And also some sites for people with disabilities, including like AbilityJobs and also some government resource pages that have really good resources for job seekers who might have disabilities. All right. So first we'll move on to Indeed. Again, like I said, it's one of the most popular job search sites currently. And you can search jobs by the industry, by the career, or by the company as well. And it also has a lot of salary comparison tools, but it also has really good employer reviews. So it's a really neat feature where you can see reviews of certain employers to find out what working at that employer might entail. Again, it's free to create an account and to apply to jobs. And unlike Monster, Indeed has a free virtual resume builder tool. So it's got this tool that will take you through step by step. All you do is enter some information and it will create a resume based on the information you entered for you. So it's a pretty interesting feature, especially for people who might not have experience creating a resume. Indeed's resume builder tool might just be the tool that they're looking for. Okay, so let's take a look at Indeed.com. All right, so this is Indeed's homepage, and it's a pretty simple setup. So it's got the job search with, again, the keyword or title area, and also the location. And then you can also just search. It's got company reviews front and center, and it's also got the salary tool. So again, let's see. So it's going to do accountant in LA County. Going to do a search. All right. And as you notice, a lot of its filters are immediately visible. So you don't need to click on a special filter button, but on Indeed, you can just see exactly the filters there, and you can just click on them to modify those filters. So you can modify it by date posted, you know, let's say the last 3 days. Again, you can do posted by, filtered by the actual employers themselves or a job recruiter. You can see any jobs that are remote work or temporarily remote. You can filter it by the distance from the location. So this is within 50 miles. Let's leave it there. Employment type, full-time, contract, part-time, temporary. So let's limit it to full-time. You know, and as you can see, you're limiting the jobs that that come up. And let's say want to look for an entry-level position. Again, that narrows it from 150 jobs to 36 jobs. Again, I highly stress using the filter to narrow the jobs down to the bunch that you're fairly certain fit in your plans. All right, so with that being said, let's take a look at the listings. So again, their listings are on the left-hand side. You're going to scroll through that. Again, if you click on it, more information will pop up on the right-hand side. So they'll have some salary information. They'll have the type of work, whether it's full-time or part-time, and also maybe some schedules as well. Like this is a Monday through Friday job. And they'll also have some additional job details. So if it looks good, you can scroll down more and see more detailed description about, like, say, the benefits, about the job itself, like the responsibilities, and also any job requirements. So for example, the successful candidates must be familiar with, and then you're going to look through all of that. And also hiring insights. So you can see whether this position is urgently hiring. If they are, hey, maybe it'll increase the chances of getting an interview or a callback. And you can see how many candidates they're hiring for this role. So if they're hiring one candidate or if they're hiring more, that might increase the chances of obtaining the job. All right, and if it looks good, you can always save it to a list if you're signed in. You can always block this job from future results, or you can just apply now. And when you do that, it'll just prompt you to submit your information and your resume, and then you can apply to a position. All right, so company reviews is another great way to find out more about prospective employers. All right, so let's say you can search for a certain company if you know their name or job title. You can also browse companies by industry and also take a look at popular companies with lots of reviews as well. So for example, you can see if you're considering working for the United States Postal Service, you can see they have 32,000 reviews, 3 stars. So this promises to have a good mix of good reviews and maybe not so good reviews. So you can see a snapshot about the company. They'll give you some information about the CEO, when it was founded, the size of the company, the revenue, what industry it is, and also any jobs that are near you from this company. You can also browse jobs by locations as well. So there's a lot of good information here aside from the reviews, which are very valuable in and of itself. And to look at the reviews, you can always just click there. You can sort it by job title, and you can sort it by location as well. But then you can always just scroll down and start reading the reviews. There are featured reviews from reviews that are marked as helpful by a lot of people. Then you can see the reviews, what position they are, if they're a current employee, where they worked or what location they were at, and when the review was posted. So, and then after that, you can just read what the reviewer wrote about the company. All right. But yeah, if you're, for any employer, prospective employer, do make sure you take a look at the company reviews, either on Indeed or on another website. It can definitely give you some more insight on that company and whether or not you want to work there. And then also find salaries. So again, this is like the salary tool that you saw on Monster and CalJobs. But this lets you kind of take a look at the top paying jobs by the industry. Let's say data entry clerk, average salary. Then you can kind of see a breakdown. All right, it gives you a breakdown on the low end, on the high end, and what the average is for this position. So you can see per hour, and you can also do it like per month or even per year as well. So like that's the average base salary for a data entry clerk in the United States. And then once you find that position, you can also see top companies that employ job positions with that title in the United States. So for example, Mauser Electronics looks like they do 20 salaries and they have a pretty high base pay for that. Also like US Department of Commerce. So if you see a company you like, you can always narrow down your job search in this way as well, instead of just searching for the job using the text boxes. Okay, so let's move on. All right, so next we'll take a look at ZipRecruiter. So ZipRecruiter is one of the main competitors to Indeed. Again, you can search jobs by title, category, and location. Again, like Indeed and like many other job search websites, it's free to create an account and also to apply to jobs. What's cool about it is there's a unique AI job recruiter tool on ZipRecruiter, which I'll show you in a second. And you might be wondering, why should you use multiple job search websites? You know, why don't I just stick with Indeed, or why don't I just stick with CalJobs? Well, that's because each job listing website has a different search algorithm. And so they may return different search results. One might be able to find a job listing on a website where another service might not be able to find it. So it's worth expanding your search and casting as wide a net as possible to help you find the ideal job. And that's why definitely I recommend using at least a couple different job search websites to help find during your job search. All right, so let's go to ZipRecruiter. Okay, so let's continue updating. Okay, so this is the ZipRecruiter website, and as you can see, this is the section that we'll be looking at. So job seekers. So here you can search jobs directly, search for salaries. You can take a look at job seeker reviews and also get some support as well. All right, but the big thing is they've got this tool, Phil, that can help people who might not be too sure of what they're looking for, or people who want, you know, a bit of a nudge in the right direction. So let's say right here, I'm looking for a job right now. If I click that, then it'll offer you assistance on finding the job. So it offers a more guided experience than just exploring a website. And then, you know, there's a job title. Let's say I'm looking for a web developer. All right. And then it'll ask you, you know, whether you want in-person, hybrid, or remote. So let's say I want to look for a remote job. So this tool is kind of a way to go through a lot of the filters that I talked about before in a more easily accessible way. And then where do you want your remote role to be based? Anywhere in the US. And then here, they're going to kind of take a look at all the jobs. And they might ask you some about the salary as well. And then select at least one job that looks right, so Phil can learn more about what you want. So they'll give you a couple options, and then whatever looks good. All right, so this is part of ZipRecruiter's strategy. Once it kind of guides you through, it'll have you create an account before you can see what before you can see exactly what the results are. So this is a way for them to have you create an account and to hopefully boost their own numbers in terms of accounts, and also be able to get some more information on users. All right, but there's a way to bypass all of that. Oops. Okay, so let's go back to ZipRecruiter. Oops. My bad. Let's just take a look here. All right, so go back here. You just scroll down to skip this personal recruiter tool, and then you can always just search for a job the old-fashioned way with your job title keyword and also your location. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at web developer in Los Angeles, and we're going to do a straight search. And so we get a very familiar looking interface. It's very familiar from Indeed, from CalJobs. List of results on the left-hand side. You're gonna just scroll through everything here. And you can also have the filters here. You can change it like remote or in person, within 25 miles of a location, when's it posted from, what type of salary you need, and whether it's full-time, part-time, or anywhere in between. Let's do full-time. All right, so there are a lot of jobs. And again, if you see something you like, just gonna click on it. And then it will give you sort of a description of the job. All right, let's see. Click on that. Okay, so you can see more information about the job. See, it's full-time. They'll tell you more about the job and the job summary and the details. And also it's the job requirements. Again, if it looks good, just click apply, and then it'll prompt you to create an account. If you're not already logged in, then you can submit your resume and apply to the job. Now, they also have the salary tool. And again, it's very similar to Indeed. So let's say web developer in Los Angeles. Again, they will give you sort of the average nationally with a low end, high end, and average. You can view it by year, by month, all the way down to hourly. And they'll give you examples of jobs within the search area. And they'll also tell you a bit about the job as well and what their salary entails. All right, so that's ZipRecruiter, and as you can see, a lot of these job websites are similar. If you know how to use one, you can use them all. They follow a very similar pattern, and it's very easy to use once you get the hang of it. Okay, and now we'll go to job seekers with disabilities. All right, so there are a couple websites I want to show you. First is AbilityJobs, and that's a dedicated website for disability employment. One cool thing that they have is that they have accessible virtual career fairs that are regularly scheduled. So, so job seekers on this website can sign up for virtual career fairs and join up as long as they have a webcam and a speaker. They can start talking with recruiters about potential job positions. It's very cool. Then there's CalCareers and USA Gov. These two are government websites that we've visited before that also have really good resources for people with disabilities. All right, but first let's take a look at AbilityJobs. All right, so this is one of the largest job sites for people with disabilities, and they have jobs from businesses, governments, and nonprofits. So as you can see, the job seeker tab is where we're going to look at. So there's the job search and also job seeker services and also career fair. Okay, so once you scroll down on the homepage, you can see some interesting stats about the website. So they have more than 100,000 registered job seekers. There's some employer partners that you can click on to learn more about the companies and available jobs. And also featured employers as well. So you can see like Amazon, Facebook are among those represented. Okay. So again, I'm going to click on job seeker. Okay, then we're going to enter here. And to just view jobs, you can always just click to start viewing jobs. Okay, so here's their job search interface. Got the keyword or job title. You can search by location, and then they already have sort of the location radius filter here. And then there's also other filters as well. So, you know, you can see the workplace type, whether it's on-site, hybrid, or remote. You can see the job function. So you can basically search through the categories like, you know, accounting, administrative support. All right. The industry, what type of industry it's in, like banking, computer hardware. All right. Job type, whether it's full-time, part-time, contract, or anything else. And also you can separate it by state. And it looks like they have a specific area for entertainment industry jobs, a specific filter for that as well. All right, so let's say you're looking for something in finance. Again, Los Angeles, gonna do a search. Let's see what comes up. Okay, and their search results, again, on the left-hand side, very similar to the ones that we've seen before. Okay, if this looks interesting, you just click it, and more details will appear on the right-hand side. Then you can scroll down. You can see the link to apply now. You can see the link to print out this, this description, and you can see a lot more information, description about the job, what they're looking for, what requirements there are, what responsibilities the job holder needs to work with. So again, if it all looks good, you can always click apply now and apply for this job. All right. Now, I also want to show you the career fair. This is a really, really cool feature right here. Once you click on that, it's an accessible virtual career fair, and it has face-to-face video. You can do text, captioning, or sign language. And it looks like their most current fair was on February 9th. So, so they do have these fairs regularly, but you can see some of the job fair participants who are there. You see the Coast Guard, Sony Interactive among the participants. And again, it's very accessible. There's sign language, there's talk to text, it's screen reader ready, and they can do voice or text messaging as well. So if you know any job seekers who might have disabilities, this is a really good way to be able to connect virtually with potential employers. And again, I just want to talk a little about web accessibility settings for people who might have difficulties accessing websites. So browsers such as Edge, Chrome, and Firefox, and most others do have accessibility features built into their settings. And this includes, for example, changing the text size, changing contrast for readability, changing the colors, having web pages read aloud, and also some magnifying tools and reading modes. So let me show you there. So for example, this is Microsoft Edge that I'm using. But if I click on the settings here, all right, I go to settings, and I look through the settings, I should see something, this tab called accessibility. So this has several tools that makes Microsoft Edge easier to see. You know, for example, you can do page zoom, you can show a high visibility outline, getting image descriptions for screen readers, and also navigating pages with a keyboard and not the mouse. So most modern browsers do have an accessibility page that you can use to adjust settings to your preferences. Okay. And also on websites, there's usually something called accessibility on their homepage. It's usually at the bottom. And I'll show you how this works on, for example, on the government resources for job seekers with disabilities. All right. So we're going to go to Cal Careers. So again, they have a page specifically for persons with disabilities. All right. And this is a job search specifically for people with disabilities. And they also have some information on the Limited Examination and Appointment Program, or LEAP, which is designed to help people with disabilities get jobs in the California State Civil Service. So if you scroll down, you can kind of see what information is available for LEAP and also what the LEAP exams entail. So you can see all these positions do support and are open to people with disabilities. Okay, and now, as you see, this is very important, accessibility. So many of these job search websites do have this accessibility link near the bottom. Once you click there, it will have more information on website accessibility. So you can see it's been developed in compliance with certain government codes that requires certain standards to make websites accessible. All right, and they usually include some kind of hints and tips, for example, keyboard shortcuts that can help navigate the web pages without the use of a mouse, and also provide additional resources as well. All right. And again, let's take a look at USA, the federal government website. They also have jobs and education for people with disabilities. All right, and you can always look for job help. You can search directly for federal jobs for people with disabilities. All right, finding and applying for federal jobs. Okay, and then it links you straight to a job search. And then let's see if they have the accessibility feature as well near the bottom. It appears that they might not have it, but let me show you CalJobs. All right, let's go back to CalJobs. As you can see here, they have accessibility right next to home. And if you click here, they have a lot of different tools that you can directly change. So for example, you can change the font size for better readability. You can change the cursor to make it a big cursor, change the color as well. You can highlight certain things on the page. And also you can change the text size as well, make it large text size for easier readability. So CalJobs, I think, has one of the more robust accessibility tools for websites. All right. And again, all the web accessibility guidelines by the W3C, that's sort of the governing organization for web standards, can be found at w3.org on this link. And that kind of shows you exactly what the accessibility guidelines are for websites. So they cover things like things that are perceivable, like for text, and for audio and video, and also for like color, and also operability, whether or not it can be navigated purely using a keyboard or a mouse. Okay, so that is the presentation for today. If you have any questions about this topic or on anything at all, please utilize the reference services at the library. You can speak to a librarian either on the phone, through text, through email or instant librarian, or visit one of our library locations and visit the reference desk. And we can help you with any information queries that you have. But thank you so much for attending this presentation. I hope you learned a lot about how to navigate job search websites, found out some more about some of the unique features that they have. Thank you.
Thanks, Lawrence. That went pretty deep. I appreciate that. So we got quite a few questions. So let's get into some of these questions. And if you do have questions out there, please put them in the Q&A. If you put them in the chat, then there's a chance we're going to miss them since the chat goes kind of fast for us with a lot of people responding. So let me get to the questions in the Q&A. First of all, what does exam mean? I think this came up when you were doing the government jobs websites. Is it actually a test you need to take? I've seen that on this site you're on now. I think it was the county website, CalJobs, the site you're on and the one before.
So my answer is it would depend on the department doing the hiring. So there are verbal exams and there are written exams, and there are departments that require both. So for example, for the more technical departments, they might require like a written examination of skills, like the ability to maybe do calculations, to use certain programs if you're applying for a programming position, the ability to utilize all of the tools that the position requires.
So yeah, exam is just a general purpose term for the way that they're going to be examining applicants. What would be your recommendation for someone over 50 who is looking to change careers after many years in the same industry? I'm trying to find something in a new and hopefully fulfilling field, but my resume is filled with a couple decades in the old career.
I think you probably need to see what the new industry requires and whether or not your skills can translate over to that industry. And if it can, then that definitely gives you a leg up on applying for positions in that new industry. If it doesn't, however, you might need to add some more skills to your repertoire. And there are a lot of online learning opportunities and resources available, especially at LA County Library. There are resources like LinkedIn Learning and Gale courses that might help fill in those education and training gaps.
Yeah, and so what I would say is everything that you said, Lawrence. In addition, I would look at resumes, some sample resumes from the job title that you're applying to and the field that you're applying to. So if you type in, whatever the job title is and sample resume, you should get a bunch. And that'll tell you what language they use, what kind of skills they look for, and some more specific details about the formatting of resumes in that field. Because some resumes have, for example, certifications that are required and some don't. Some resumes have, some kind of professional association work that's helpful, and some fields don't really care about that. So I would do that. But as far as shifting that resume that you have from the previous career, you might consider doing a hybrid resume or a skills-based resume. So most resumes that we think of are chronological. So they list job roles by, the newest to oldest. And so that kind of resume might have jobs from a long time ago. And typically the recommendation is 10 years, but the way we can get around that is we can do a hybrid or skills-based resume where the important things we put are the skills that you have rather than the specific job titles that you have. And so you might put, have worked in these job titles and have these skills that may be applicable to whatever career that you're trying to enter. And if I were you, I would do a Google search for resume formats, and that will show you how to get around that I think we have a whole, but decades and decades of slightly irrelevant jobs, but maybe not slightly relevant skills. All right, let's move forward. Is AbilityJobs geared towards people with permanent disabilities, or does it accommodate people with a temporary disability as well? This question has a broken foot, so the disability is temporary.
Let's see. Well, let's take a look. While I look at that, we can, do you want to do the next question, Oleg?
Yep, I will do that. So the next question is, what are the best sites for remote work that are from legitimate employers? So actually, I mean, there are job sites specifically for remote work. I don't know. Well, I only know one off the top of my head, but it's for something pretty specific. It's for data analysts and data science people, and that's Outer Join. Outer Join. Let me type in the actual URL. And that's for data science people, but there are other websites that focus on remote jobs. So the good thing these days is that most of the websites that, I think maybe even all the websites that Lawrence showed you today, have a filter for remote jobs. And presumably, I mean, I can't speak to all of the postings there, but presumably a lot of them will be from legitimate employers. So Indeed.com, ZipRecruiter, all of those have remote, you can limit LinkedIn, the LinkedIn job board, that you can limit to remote work. Let's see, any reason why Lawrence is not covering LinkedIn? Also, some sites you can pay for a subscription like LinkedIn. Is it worth it to pay for this to be a subscriber? Okay, well, LinkedIn is similar to a lot of the job sites that Lawrence covered. So what you'll get with LinkedIn, though, is the addition of the social network and the possibility to input the items that you have on your profile directly into a job application. So if for some jobs, it's just easier to apply using LinkedIn. But if you save your applications for the previous job sites, that doesn't matter as much. And as far as a job, the subscription to LinkedIn, it can be useful, but it really depends on how you use LinkedIn. So one of the things that a LinkedIn subscription offers is it lets you see who has looked at your profile. And that may or may not be useful. Probably not useful for most people. If you have a LinkedIn subscription, it gives you, I think it gives you contact to, you're able to contact people, you're able to do some more things on the platform. I would say for most people, it's not, per se, for most jobs, it's not that useful, but you would have to look for yourself and see what are the options when it comes to having a LinkedIn subscription, if that was be something that's useful for your specific field. Let's see, what are the best sites for older workers, as well as older workers who are laid off their jobs and have been out of the workforce for many years? So for the second part, I don't think there are any specific sites for people who were laid off from their jobs and have been out of workforce for many years. Our previous program last week was Work Ready Returning to Work, which covers that very question, how to get back into the workforce for people who have been out for many years. And you can watch that on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/LA County Library. And it'll be one of the first videos that are up there since it was just last Tuesday. But as far as older workers, Lawrence did have, what was that site?
Workforce 50.
Workforce 50. And that's a site specifically for older workers.
Yeah, let me post that in the chat.
Let's see. Is it easier to obtain jobs for people with persons with disabilities? I never thought to apply for jobs that are meant for persons with disabilities, even though I have a disability. That's a good question, and it's really hard to say. I would probably, I mean, my just knee-jerk answer would be that it's not easier to obtain jobs for people with disabilities because of intangible qualities that people have. Sometimes people will have prejudices against people with disabilities. Some of the people think even though a person may have all the skills to do the job, they may be looked at as if they don't. So I don't know. I doubt that it's easier. I don't know how much harder it is. I think that that may depend on the disability. It may depend on the job that people are applying for. I have very little expertise on this topic, so I don't think that I have anything more useful to say on it. But I think that if you do have a disability, that the sites that Lawrence mentioned uh, open the field a little bit more for you, because now you are able to apply with the companies there, knowing that they might get somebody with disability, and you know if they're already on those sites, that they're less likely to view your disability with prejudice.
Yeah, and then going off the previous question about the temporary or permanent disabilities, the AbilityJobs website didn't specify, but I would suggest contacting the potential employer for the job listing that you see and just asking like, asking them to clarify whether or not they'll hire people with permanent and or temporary disabilities for their position.
That sounds good. The next question is about, is there easy way to spot scam companies? I sent a resume for a remote position and was contacted by someone from a completely different company claiming to be connected to the previous one. Yes, that's one way. If you apply in one job and then somebody totally different contacts you. They said there was an online interview and I was hired, but all the information they were sending me became more and more suspicious, fished and filled with spelling and grammatical errors. Yes, all of those things that you just put in your question are a red flag. So yes, those are the ways to spot if things just seem odd. Usually a company that is trying to hire, they're mostly going to be straightforward. It's going to be, they're going to call you in for an interview. They're going to do the interview. If they want to move forward, they're going to call you for another interview. They're going to, they're going to give you an offer and negotiate. There's not going to be all those kind of weird stuff that you're going to have to do that are out of order. So sometimes with with scam companies, they'll have you fill in information in advance beyond what you've already put in. They'll have you put in personally identifiable information that is typically private, that doesn't usually go on job interviews, like credit card information. You never need credit card information to apply for a job. They're supposed to be paying you. But sometimes these scam companies will have you pay them like an application fee or something like that, or buy some kind of equipment before you can start work. No, that's not how that's supposed to work. When you're applying for a job, you're applying to work at a company. They're supposed to be paying you the money. You're supposed to be paying them with your labor. We actually have a whole program on that. So if you go to our YouTube channel and scroll down a bit, or just search in job scams into our YouTube channel, we've done a work ready program on job scams. So yeah, it's wild what you see out there, but be careful, use common sense. Don't share information that seems odd. And if you get these kind of red flags, go the other way. It's not worthwhile. All right. Could you please share the link where this recording will be shared? I'd like to share it with friends. Absolutely. So I'm going to send a follow-up email early next week with a link to the recording. The recording is going to be on YouTube, so it'll be accessible to everyone. Can you create multiple different resumes on these sites, presumably the sites that you showed, to use for specific job applications? I'm in my 60s and have many skills and interests. Yes. Yeah. Create multiple different resumes. Tailor your resume to the job description of the job that you're applying for. That's just general resume advice, general job application advice. Tailor your cover letter, tailor your resume. Don't there's no reason that you need to send the same one, particularly because now it's so easy to edit them with a word processor. You can switch out parts, add parts. You can add the language in the job description really easily. I just recommend saving all the different ones on your computer so that you have them and then you can use them to create your Frankenstein resume. That's the doctor for that job. I'm mixing my metaphors. Never mind. That you can send the right resume to the right job. Any place that provides actual first-person experience with companies' interview questions. I think, Lawrence, that this person is asking about mock interviews.
So there are mock interviews.
So I would say that, so number one, yes, I mean, there exist places like that. The first place I would think of would be that you might find some information about something like that at the AJCC's, America's Job Centers of California, which are one-stop shops for everything job seeker related. They are physical places. They are available all over LA County. I'm going to post a link to the AJCC website, and I would say that they probably have some kind of program that will let you practice your interviews. Another thing that I will say is that for most jobs, you can find the specific questions that are asked within interviews for that specific field just by Googling interview questions and the specific job title. And often, even librarian questions, like even for library job interviews, you'd think librarian is not like a job that's super mainstream, like everybody's going to be a librarian. That's a pretty narrow field. But yeah, there are job sites that have questions for librarians. So I would do that, and then you can practice that. You could practice those, drill those. Lawrence, I saw you posted something in the chat.
Yeah, I also want to add that one of our resources on the Tools for Job Seekers website, it's called BrainFuse, and you can connect to with a live interview coach to practice interviewing, and that's accessible with your LA County Library card. So I posted the link there.
Mhm. So this next question is I really like this question. And it just focuses on a really important group. Is there any website devoted to promoting moms coming back to work after some time off raising kids? And that, I don't know if you know, Lawrence, I don't know of any such website, but I feel like if somebody wants to start a website, that would be that would be a really nice website to start. I just did a quick online search, and there are some websites that talk about it. I don't know if there's websites for that's like a site like Indeed with listings specifically for moms returning to the workforce. But yeah, and I know that there are online articles about it and support for moms returning to the workforce. And then, of course, last week's event was all about returning to work and was actually presented by a career coach who had kids and returned to work. So it's by somebody in that very same position. Somebody posted in the chat the Mom Project website. Let's find the URL for that web address. And we can post that. The Mom Project, it's just work.themomproject.com or themomproject.com.
Yeah.
It's a digital talent marketplace for the hire moms. Okay, yes. I love this.
Cool.
I love the chat. It's like, somebody asks a question, somebody else in the chat answers. That's how this should be. Thank you very much for that suggestion. All right, let's do the next one. Any recommendation on how to filter search on experience? I'm looking for entry-level new grad jobs with no experience. I know LinkedIn lets you do that.
Yeah, that for the filters, they actually have entry level or 5 to 10 years experience or beyond, and kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not perfect. So you can use those filters. That's a really easy way to do it because you just put a check mark. You can also put, depending on the career or the field that you're entering, there are certain job titles that tend to be entry level. So if you put like associate or assistant or something like that within the search field and within the job role, you'll often, or like junior, like there's like junior web developer. That tends to be more like entry level. So yeah, there are definitely options for that. Which job seeking sites would you avoid? I've noticed that some will take you on a wild goose chase and hammer you with spam daily. Lawrence, we experienced this. We were on the phone last week going through some sites, talking about this presentation, and we experienced this very thing. Also, I noticed a link in your present for anonymous resume submission. What are the benefits and drawbacks of this? There's two questions here. So the first question is, which job seeking sites would you avoid? So uh, when so Lawrence and not it was not Lawrence, it was actually, it was Anna Sylvia. Anna Sylvia and I were talking about this, and what I was doing was looking for, I wanted to see what a Subway job application would look like. It's Subway, like the Subway restaurant. And I typed in Subway jobs, and the first few results that came up were sponsored websites. And you click on those, and it doesn't actually take you to the Subway website. It takes you to another website that has you put in some information that then has some fine print that was like, then we're going to forward your information to these other sites, and we're going to send you text messages and stuff like that. And nothing about Subway, but it had the Subway logo on the top. Those are the kind of sites that you want to avoid, the kind of sites that aren't actually the site of the company. So if you are using like Indeed.com, ZipRecruiter, et cetera, they have a lot of job listings. Those are the most popular job search sites. Those tend not to be spammy. Those are probably legit because they're the most popular ones. You might find some listings on there where the company might not be ethical, or the people posting listing might not be ethical. Although I would say that's probably kind of rare. I would say that if you are going to a site to apply for a job, and the site has fine print that says, we're going to send your information in maybe different words, going to send we have now permission to send you text messages. We now have permission to forward your information. Yeah, don't do that. Don't put a check mark on it. Don't even put your information in there. If the site wants you to put in information, but it's not a job application, it's some other kind of thing, just to, for instance, just to put information like your name, your email address, your address, all this kind of information, just to see the listings, that's a spam site. Don't do that. You shouldn't need to put in and all kinds of personal information just to see job listings. I don't know if you had other things to add, Lawrence.
Um, in addition to that, I'd probably avoid contacting people on like Craigslist for actual jobs and stuff like that. Like those job posting boards on like say Craigslist or things that are similar to that. Probably best to search for that job on its actual website or find it on big job sites like Indeed or ZipRecruiter.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like Facebook, stuff like that aren't actually job sites.
Yeah.
I would look twice or think twice about applying for jobs you find there. And then also, I noticed the link in your presentation for an anonymous resume submission. What are the benefits and drawbacks for this process? Was that on BrainFuse? Is that what we're talking about?
Um,
Anonymous resume submission.
I don't think I noticed that on BrainFuse. It might have been on one of the websites I have, like I presented on.
Oh, so it will be in the website. So what would be the
Yeah.
benefits or drawbacks of anonymous resume submission? I don't even know. I'm not even sure what that is. Is that to review the resume, or is just submit anonymously for a job?
So it looks like it's a thing where people depersonalize their job applications to um, sort of prevent discrimination during the time of resume review.
Huh. That's interesting. I think many resumes just because of most resumes, cover letters are a bit more personal. Resumes tend not to be that personal. I mean, they have sort of common job skills and accomplishments, but maybe other than a name of a person, it may not be that, it may not be sort of anonymous anyway. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if there are a lot of benefits to that sort of thing.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing about anonymous resume submission is it'll just kind of push back the discrimination to the time of the selection interviews, not during the review of the resume itself. So,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, and a lot of big companies use the algorithms to check resumes anyway, so it's not even a person doing the first screening. Not all companies, I mean, and they have different algorithms, different applicant tracking systems, but I would say that, yeah, I'm not sure that there are any significant benefits, that sort of thing. It seems kind of weird to me to do hiring that way. Let's see. I've been out of work for many years as a caregiver for my father. Would employers feel like my past work experience is less valuable due to the large gap of time since my last employment date? That depends. That depends on what the job you're applying for is. If, for instance, you're applying for a technology job and your last experience was 20 years ago and you haven't kept up with the changes in technology, then what's on your resume may not be as relevant because you're not going to be working on the things that you're working on 20 years. So for instance, like if you're a Python programmer, Python has changed dramatically in 20 years. So you're not going to be using it's almost like a different programming language. So in that situation, yeah, that past experience may not be as useful. You may have to do some upskilling there. Now, other skills, like if you're, like an administrative assistant, that there's some specific technologies that have changed, but the general, like, I'm good at answering the phone, scheduling, office management, some of that stuff, that really, those skills haven't changed all that much. If you're competent using like Microsoft Office has changed, but like if you last used it 10 years ago and you can take a LinkedIn learning class and get up to speed, it hasn't changed that much in 10 years. So you can say, you're proficient with word processing if the last time you used it was Microsoft Word 2010. So it just depends on the job, how relevant your skills are for that specific job. Uh, I got my EAD recently. I have no work experience in the US, but I have more than 12 years of experience in the healthcare field. It's very difficult for me to find even an entry-level job in the healthcare sector without experience in the US. Please help me in how to proceed. So yeah, it's a tough situation. That may require the knowledge of an expert. My first instinct would be to say that you may want to go back to school at least temporarily to get some sort of certification, and or to see if there's some kind of articulation agreement, which is say an agreement between the school in your former country and whatever degree you got there and the United States. So there may be some connection that will show the organizations that you're applying for, in the field that you're applying for, that you do have these skills. So in the situation that there is some kind of agreement between the skills that you have and the skills that you need, maybe you'll need a little bit of additional school, maybe not, but that's something that might be interesting to look into. But I would recommend talking to somebody in the healthcare field or somebody who does recruiting or somebody who does hiring in the healthcare field to answer that question specifically for your field, because then they'll be able to speak to what the experience that you have, the specific experience that you have, and what you might need to be a viable candidate. Thank you for the class. Received some valuable information. Lawrence Mack did a great job. Good job, Lawrence.
Thank you for your kind
That
words.
wasn't a question. That was just a comment, and I'm with it. What is the benefit to using Phil on ZipRecruiter? Does Phil create a profile of your job search? Also, could you please repeat your YouTube link again? I'm going to post the YouTube link in the chat, and it'll also be in the follow-up email. But Lawrence, tell us about Phil on ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, so Phil is just kind of like a streamlined tool to help guide you along the search function. If you're comfortable using like the actual search, I wouldn't recommend using Phil. But if you're just sort of new to the web and to job search websites in general, Phil might be helpful. So it does kind of take you through all the filter options and creates a profile for you, but it also encourages you to create an account on ZipRecruiter. So it does create a profile for you, but again, it also benefits ZipRecruiter because they can add to their subscriber counts.
Can you place the name of the AHCC on the chat, please? Yeah, so AJCC. So I did place the link to the AJCC in the chat. So that was from the question from before. All right. Is the Career Builder website still a good source to look for jobs?
Career Builder.
So while you look for that, I'm going to take the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Any sites that come to mind with a need for volunteers for good causes like suicide prevention, tutoring kids requiring extra help? Yes, Volunteer Match is a great one for volunteers. And that it matches you with organizations looking for volunteers. If you're looking for paid work for nonprofits and things like that, Idealist, I think it's idealist.org. I'm going to make sure. Idealist.org is a website specifically for nonprofit job seekers or for folks who are looking for careers in the nonprofits. And so I think there's volunteers there also. So I'm going to post that in the chat as well. So Volunteer Match and Idealist. So here's Volunteer Match, or here's Idealist. And I think it's Volunteer Match. I don't know if I remember if it's .com or .org. It is a .org. So volunteermatch.org, and I'll post it in the chat also. And we'll send these emails in the follow-up email. So I'm partially posting them in the chat so that they remind me to put them in the follow-up email. All right. Any info about Career Builder, Lawrence?
Yeah, so it looks like it's still decent in terms of reviews, but a look on their Wikipedia page does show that they have had some complaints about getting spams from the fake job listings that we discussed earlier. So it might be better to stick with Indeed and ZipRecruiter.
What is your opinion or experience with Glassdoor? I get so much spam for them. I regret registering with them, but if you think they're particularly useful, I will rethink leaving it.
So
So
Glassdoor was purchased. Well, oh yeah, go ahead, Ole.
no, actually, I'm curious. Who was it purchased by?
So Glassdoor was purchased by Indeed. So they are a part of Indeed. So most of their services Indeed also has now. So that I would just stick with Indeed.
And there is a way to get around those. I mean, to unsubscribe from those messages, you typically just have to go to your profile within Glassdoor and turn off all of those email notifications. So typically you can turn off most of them and you won't be getting inundated with all this spam, all this unwanted email. What are your thoughts to whether to put on the resume? I took some time off to take care of my mom. Would it help or hurt to put caregiver from January 2021 to present on the resume under work history? Honestly, I don't think that it would, if the job, it's not relevant to the job, it's a single line. I don't think that it would harm or hurt. If it's not, if being a caregiver really didn't, none of the skills that you use as a caregiver applies to your job, it's not going to help you. If it does, it might. Like if you're applying for a job maybe in the healthcare field or something tangentially relevant to the skills you use as a caregiver, that might actually be helpful. But it's unlikely to harm. I mean, it's what it might do is it might head off the question that, well, you had a career gap for, it's January 2021 is not that long ago. It's a couple of years. So it's not like you were, you were out of work for 50 years and now you're applying. You're like, well, what happened in 50? Why so long? Why 25 years? Why 50 years? Um, I think that it would be fine to put that. I don't think that it's going to harm you. Uh, Many more people now have had career gaps or unemployment, caregiving, parenting, whatever, because of the pandemic. So it's no longer looked at as something, at least according to the program we had last week, according to the experts that were on last week, it's no longer a strange thing to have a couple of years of career gap after the last few years. So yeah, I think you can put that. I don't think you have to worry about it harming or helping your resume. I think it would be fine as an explanation. If I had multiple injuries in different jobs, would it be difficult to get hired with a new company? Well, that's a question that's really difficult to answer because how would they know that you've had multiple injuries in different jobs? I mean, is it something that's going to affect your work at the new company? It's not, I mean, you don't put, like there's no field in your resume that says like injuries acquired, unless you're like a professional wrestler or something. So I'm not sure if it would, I'm not sure if it would have any effect unless, I mean, they wouldn't, unless it was somehow immediately relevant. I don't think that they would have been asked about it in an interview. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think there may be more to that question. It may be more specific based on the field, but yeah, just from basic question, I don't see how it would make it more difficult. Let's see. Would it be beneficial to create a new email account to sign up for things like ZipRecruiter and so forth, since you seem to need an account for each work site?
I would say it would be definitely helpful just to create a dedicated email account for your job search, because that way you can check, everything, any kind of communication or messages directly on that one account. And if some start sending you spam, it doesn't clutter up your personal account as well.
Yeah, email accounts are free, so there's no harm unless you don't like check. Like I have one email account. I don't really like checking multiple email accounts. So I like having one and I use filters and things to make it manageable. But yeah, getting even getting multiple Gmail accounts is really, you know what? I have a few different Gmail accounts. So no, yeah, changing from Gmail account to Gmail account is really easy. So yeah, do that. Okay. I think that's it. Let me see if let me scroll up the chat a little bit to see if there's any questions that came in recently that we haven't covered, but I think that's pretty much, yeah, I think we've pretty much covered the questions that were asked. Oh, here's a new one. Any email accounts seem to require a cell phone number. Any way to get a new email account without a cell phone number? Yeah, there are some sites that don't require a cell phone number. I recently created an email account on it was either Skiff or Proton Mail, and I don't remember if they asked for, so they may not have asked for a cell phone number. And those are Skiff, both Skiff and Proton Mail are email services that are encrypted, end-to-end encrypted. So they're more secure. Skiff is a whole, I mean, they both have whole suites, sort of. They're trying to mirror what Google does and these other larger companies do. So I can just put their names in the chat, Skiff and Proton Mail. So I would take a look at those. I think they did. I don't remember putting my phone number into Skiff. And there are others too. There are other services that don't require your phone number. Typically, the reason a phone number is required is for a two-factor authentication. So it's for account security, but not everybody has a cell phone and not everybody should need a cell phone to have an email address. So yeah, there are services that will allow you to create an email address without a cell phone. Yeah, Gmail and Yahoo, yeah, they require cell phones. Yeah, these companies, they've required it for a while, and particularly for some people who come into the library, it's challenging because not everybody has a cell phone, and not everybody wants to use their cell phone to to input to get an email address. And yeah, I don't think you should have to, but these companies that provide free services, it's their decision. Okay, before we leave, I want to let folks know what we have coming up next week, because we do have a work ready program coming next week and the week after that and the week after that. We're on a Tuesday rotation. Every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, we have your work ready connection. We've got your skills, we've got your knowledge, and hopefully we can help you with your job seeking. Next week, we have career coach Allison Arnoff on with career coach Liz Moeller, and they're going to be talking about communication skills in a virtual workplace. So many companies are going remote. We've had questions during this program about looking for remote jobs, and there are definitely some differences between communicating in person and communicating virtually. And this program will cover some of those. We'll cover some communication basics, and will make you a much stronger communicator when it comes to this sort of thing. You can register for that next week. It's next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And with that, Lawrence, I thank you. I want to let folks know that if you would like to share your opinions about this program with us, when you close the Zoom, you will get a link to the survey, but I'm also going to post a survey in the chat if you want to start filling it out early. We love it when you share your opinions with us on our post-event survey. Give us the good stuff, give us the not so good stuff. We're always looking to improve, and tell us what you want to learn about in the future. We look at that last question on the survey, what you want us to cover in the future, and that's how we craft our programming, because what's the point of us doing these programs if it's not responding to what you would like? So yeah, fill out that survey. Really appreciate it. Lawrence, thank you very much for that in-depth tour of websites, answering all of the questions, and thank you all out there for sticking with us, and we'll see you next time.